Hello, hello. All right, we're going live. Hello, everybody. This is the first time that I've gone live. I've got some Palo Santo here, and this is the first time I've gone live, and I'm kind of excited about it. And I want to share my experience with you, my experience of with readings and my spiritual journey, and how sometimes believing everything you see and hear on the internet in these readings could be hurting you. So I'm going to share my experience. And Spirit, let me just drop in for a second. Please remind me that I'm safe. Please remind me that I'm here to be a conduit. I'm here to allow your message to come through me as well. And I ask the ego to step aside. I ask the ego to step aside and allow me to show up authentically and know that I am safe. Okay. I have some, just so you know, I'm not against cards. I'm not against readers. If you're new here, I'm Nina Vasquez. I am a trauma-informed coach, and my partner and I, Dr. Isela Garcia, are host of the Love Being page, and we are she is a spiritual medium. She is an intuitive medium. So I have nothing against tarot card readers, and I have nothing against using our gifts and tapping in and helping the collective. But I do want to share my experience with you, my experience with card readings and with my trauma healing journey, and what kind of pitfalls I fell into with doing readings. So I have some cards here. I have the Love Being cards. These are Isela's cards that she made. They're just absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to pull cards, but I just want you to know I do have cards. And another box that I have here is the Wild Unknown Archetype cards. And I really, really enjoy these cards. They're not tarot cards. They're, but I do enjoy cards. So with that out of the way, I want to share a little bit about my experience. My hope is that this impromptu live supports you on your awakening and healing journey. And so several years ago, in 2022, I started I would call a deep trauma healing and awakening journey. And that led me to discovering a lot about myself, a lot about my hidden wounds, some subconscious patterns that I have running the show in my life. And my path, everyone does healing different, right? So many people find healing in meditation. Many people find healing in breath work or somatics and nervous system. I have found healing in many different ways. The main mode of healing for me has been psychedelics. But I've used all the modalities that I just mentioned, and I'm like a big fan of somatic work, nervous system work, breath work. I'm a breath work facilitator. So, but I want to share a little story. So I started down this deep healing journey, deep healing path in 2022, and I was really seeking outside of me. And at the time, I thought that everyone outside of me knew better than me. At the time, I believed that I couldn't trust myself, and that I was the version of me who thought I needed to be fixed. I was broken, and something needed to be fixed about me. I had core wounds and core belief system of I'm not enough. I'm sure you can relate to that. Not everyone has the, I am not enough wound, but many people do. And I really believed I was not enough and something was wrong with me and I was broken. And so I took that lens into my healing journey. I also took the lens of everybody outside of me knows better than me. And I need to listen to everyone. Now, not everyone on their healing path has this wound where they think everybody outside of them knows better than them. But I did. I did have that. And so I was impressionable. I was what you would call gullible. I remember growing up in high school being like known to be gullible and impressionable. So anyway, I went down this healing journey. I sat with medicine multiple times. I experienced deep transformative experiences in the medicine path. I started working with Isela, the co-host of this channel, started working with her. And what guided me to her was this really divinely orchestrated meeting. I was at a life coach school event, and it was after like everybody was isolated in their homes. It was around 2021, I believe. And I sat right next to her. And at the time, I knew of like Abraham Hicks, and I knew of manifestation, and I knew of Neville Goddard. I knew of those kinds of things, but I was just spiritually curious. My relationship with God was so messy. I was kind of mad at God at the time. My life had really, I was in a place in my life where many of my circumstances were terrible. I was going through, I had recently went through a divorce. I had a long, complicated history with my relationships. I was really struggling, and I was going through this time in my life where I was depressed, deeply depressed, and I would crawl out of the depression and I would feel good again. And at the time, I was a life coach. I was coaching people on weight loss. Anyway, I met her in this. I literally sat right next to her, introduced myself to her, and then I found out she was a spiritual medium. And I was like, oh, I think I was supposed to meet you. So I met her, and shortly after that, it was really cool. We actually hired each other. I hired her. She hired me as a coach. I hired her to do a spiritual reading for me. And that was the very first time I ever had a reading, very first time. And her reading was called A Soul's Journey. And what she did, what Isela can do is she can tap into our guides and our spirit team. And she has this ability to tell you kind of what, from a trauma informed lens, what's been holding you back in life. And she shared a lot about my journey of the past and what brought me to that present moment. And oh my gosh, everything, it felt like she knew me, and she didn't know me. And so, but there was one pivotal moment when she told me that everywhere I had gone in my life, I had camouflaged myself. And I had a trauma response of fawning. And at the time, I did not know what fawning was. I wasn't a trauma informed coach yet at that time, hadn't gone through trauma training. And when she said that, it was like she put language to my experience of life. And in that moment, I realized, oh my gosh, she shared with me that I had complex PTSD and I still had unhealed trauma. And I hadn't really faced that. At the time, I was trying to transform my life by changing my thoughts. That's the only way I knew. I knew that my thoughts were creating my suffering, so I was just trying to change my thoughts. And she shared with me that I had unhealed trauma. So I took that information from her, and I would say I did this, but I know I was guided. I was guided to the medicine path, and I worked with, a handful of guides. I went to retreats over, in Mexico and Costa Rica, and I worked with different medicines. And like I said, had profound healing. Okay. So last year in 2025, I spent a lot of time on the clock app. Spent a lot of time on that. And one of my biggest hurdles in life has been I try not to use the word addiction, but it has been patterns of addiction to numbing and consuming in my life. So it used to be food. Then I healed emotional eating for the most part. Of course, I still emotional eat here and there. And then it moved to alcohol. It was alcohol for a while. And then it moved to social media. So that's the latest like obsession and numbing thing that I use to numb my emotions. So last year, it was after I spent let me think about the timeline. So 2024, end of 2024, I sat with a master plant called Iboga. Changed my life in so many ways. But I went back to some of the old habits of consuming social media. And social media is just really designed to get our brain, addicted to it, and the algorithm is designed to have you stay on the platform and consume. I have a mentor of mine that calls it, she refers to consuming like that, like just sitting down eating Cheetos on your couch, just Cheeto after Cheeto after Cheeto. And so I found myself numbing with social media. This has been going on for several years. I've done a lot of releasing of shame around it. I've done a lot of work around it. And so last year, I found myself on the clock app, and there are readers on the clock app, and they will do these readings, and they're tarot card readers. All love to them, not judging them, but what they will do is they will read for the collective. Okay. But when they're reading for the collective, they don't say, they say things like, if this resonates with you, you'll know if this resonates with you if, and they say things like, honor your own knowing. They don't use those words, but they use some words like inviting you to discern whether this message is for you or not. But they're not live, they're just on there. And it's a video that they've done, and maybe it's weeks ago, maybe it's some are live, obviously. And by this time, by 2025, I've had a couple psychic readings, I've had a couple card readings, I had the one from Isela, I've had readings from Dr. Isela many times. Most of her readings are like tapping into the energy now, and communicating with guides to give you what you really need to know right now, to help you kind of see what's going on with you now and what's keeping you stuck now. But they're not like predictive. So anyway, those readers that I would watch, they would say things like, your divine partner is on their way, and they speak about the future, and a lot of it resonates with you. They'll say, this is you if you've been, for example, like the isolated one that's coming out, you'll know, let's see what else. There's other examples, they're not coming to me right now, and especially when you are on a psychedelic path, your brain is so malleable. It's extra malleable during those times. And I just mean that after ceremony, it's often said to stay away from social media, stay away from consumption, because your neural pathways, they are ready to be like, the ones that need to be pruned will be pruned, and the ones that need to be formed will be formed, and you can create habits because you're neuroplastic during that time. So anyway, there were times where I would take a break from social media, and then I would come back, and I would always find myself almost like in this trance of like scrolling and these readers. And so once you watch a couple of these type of readers, then the algorithm will give you more of them, more of them, more of them. And I would find myself in this hole of numbing, checking out of life, just listening to them. And I'm thinking I'm just listening, but really they are impressing upon my subconscious mind. So there were moments where I'd find myself believing it. So then it feels good to believe that, like, maybe, your business is going to take off, or you're going to meet your partner, it's very subtle, and you don't think that you are being like, it's hurting you at all. Okay. So, but in January of 2026, I sat with a powerful medicine again, Iboga. And Iboga has a fun way of teaching you things. And it's an overnight ceremony, and the next day you're still like in the work, that you're still being receiving downloads and messages, and you're still being taught, and your brain's still being, I would call it rewired. And I remember I was doing this in the desert, and I remember it was like at a glamping site. And I remember walking from my tent all the way to the bathroom. And as I was walking there, you have these open eye visuals on this medicine. And the reason why you do, I don't need to go into that. Okay, you have these open eye visuals. And as I was walking to the bathroom, it was quite a ways, just walking through the desert, and I see this open eye visual of like a phone. And at the time, we don't have our phones; they're put away. And I see one of these readers, and I literally think that this reader, while in my open eye visual, I'm thinking, "Oh, this reader it is the medicine teaching me something," and the medicine acted as though it was telling me that, like, "Oh, and this is the year that your divine masculine partner is coming into your life." And for a moment, a split, not even a second, I believed it. And I believed it was like showing me my future. And it showed me that I was believing these readers that they weren't reading specifically for me. It's not like I specifically they were reading specific my energy. I was just believing them when I would see them on this clock app. Okay. And if you've ever been on the app, you'll know. And once you go down that path, the algorithm is just going to keep showing you. So the medicine had this open eye visual. Actually, I think it was on this side. Yeah, it was on my left side, open eye visual of the phone. And I literally, for a split, not even a second, believed it. And because I believed it, it showed it to me again. And that time I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. And I really got this message or a download that, I say download because sometimes medicine teaches you with no words. And I really received this message that this is hurting us because we believe these things, and it affects how we feel. And then when it doesn't happen, we're like let down. But we can get sucked into consuming something that's not even meant for us. And now there's probably a lot of hot takes on, tarot card readers that are reading for the collective, and how to discern whether it's for you or not. But where I landed was, if I am not investing in a reading directly with someone and they are reading me directly, what I took away from this powerful medicine that helped me access my own soul's knowing was that it's actually hurting us, because we are consuming it like it's factual. And no hate to tarot card readers, no hate to the readers online, but we have to start thinking, is that serving my soul to sit on this app and scroll endlessly, taking in these collective readings that really impress upon our subconscious mind? So I am what am I saying? The words that I'm trying to say is, we are all impressionable. And since that ceremony, which was January this year, I have found myself, for the most part, I'm not on that app anymore. I like took a hard stance, and I just like got off that app. And so I've been off this whole year. But I am not like I'm not exempt because the same readers that are on the clock app are also on YouTube. Okay. So I'm not exempt from seeing them. And once you like watch one of the readers, I actually found myself watching a reading this morning and I woke up to like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I am consuming something and it is impressing upon my subconscious mind. And for the most part, if we lived without these social media apps, we would not be having this. We'd be like literally having real life experiences with real life humans. But for those of us who really struggle to feel our emotions and we find ways to numb outside of us and we are seeking outside of us, we are so impressionable. So I'm sharing all of this and being vulnerable and sharing my experience with this to say, number one, we need to set boundaries with ourselves and these apps because the ego wants us to watch these things and believe it and like be distracted from our purpose here in the world, right? And the ego is like, yes, let's like just come over here and spend a whole hour or 2 or 3 scrolling, consuming, eating Cheetos, eating Doritos or whatever, eating this low vibrational stuff. Okay. There was something else I was going to say. I told you this was impromptu. Yeah, number one, we need to set boundaries with ourselves. Number two, I want to invite you to something. Dr. Isela Garcia and me, we are doing a masterclass. We have never done this before. But what we're doing together is we are hosting a masterclass where we're going to teach you about a little bit about trauma and spirituality and help you identify some of your blocks, your current blocks right now, the current things that are happening in your life, just the same way she did for me. And while Dr. Isela Garcia is not really in the medicine space like I am, or, she's never been in that space, it was her reading that catapulted me to seek for how do I heal my body? How do I heal myself from trauma that I didn't realize that was still in my body? So we're going to have that. It's an hour. It's an hour long. It's on June 29th at 5 p.m. Central Time. And a couple people on the call, whoever we have time for, a couple people on the call, what we're going to do is we're going to invite you on to have a reading with Isela and then have me actually drop you into some healing around whatever comes up in that moment. Because here's the issue with tarot card readers. Here's the issue with getting a reading. I've got cards here. Have you ever had a reading and then you're like, okay, good. Now what do I do with that? I have 2 psychic readings they're recordings that I've had. I had one in 2024 and one in 2025. And I'm like, what do I do with this information now? So what we're going to do is we're going to have her, tap in intuitively, and then I'll come in and do some healing. And of course, maybe not everybody will be able to get a live reading on the call, but we want to offer that to our community and to you to come. It's free. And I'll put the link for sure in the description box below on how to sign up for it, June 29th. So we want to just invite you to that. If you've ever felt like I got a reading, now what? That is for you. So there's just 2 things we want to keep in mind. We want to keep in mind that the part of you that is seeking for information outside of you, and that is the ego. The ego keeps having us seek because the ego wants us to think we're broken and something's wrong with us. But you can never be broken. Your nervous system is always working the way it's supposed to work. And every survival strategy, protector part that you have right now in your life that's, holding you back is literally trying to protect you. So come join us on June 29th so we can kind of shed some light on some of this for you and help you discover and uncover really what is keeping you stuck today. Dr. Isela is someone that I trust heavily. And if you've been on this channel for some time, you will know why I say that. She's super fun to work with. And yeah, I always say, like, she's like super fun and light, and I'm like the deep. Like, I go deep really quickly. And so we kind of complement each other pretty good there. But anyway, thank you for listening. I will see you in the next video.